What's good, y'all boys? It's Virgo. I know it's Sunday and I know y'all love these like preachy type videos. So today what we're going to be doing is I have a compilation of some of my most inspirational and reassuring videos, because I know it's hard sometimes, y'all boys. I know sometimes you on this journey, you know you're talented, you know you got unlimited abundance of energy, and you just know in your heart that you can accomplish the dream that you want to accomplish. But sometimes the reality in front of you doesn't align with that. Sometimes the people around you beliefs don't align with that. So this video is just a compilation of some of my most favorite videos and videos that keep me motivated, that may help you and comfort you in your time. Remember, in the darkest hour, in your time of the most discomfort, God is still with you. With that, hope you enjoy.
I'm looking at everybody having a blast. People the same age as me in college, they going to parties, they going on trips, they with their friends, they making money. I'm sitting there dead broke, not having fun, not enjoying life. But I just waited my turn. I ain't really complain for real. I just waited my turn.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to just put my turn, fool. Now look at me, fool. It's people saying that about me now. You feel me?
And wait your mother turn, bro. Your turn gonna come, bro. I promise you. Your turn might not be now. You might not be ready for it now. People be rushing for their turn.
You gotta wait your turn, because I let a lot of people, pass me, and I was sad. I would get like discouraged. But now that it's my time, I'm like,
if God say it's this time right here, it's gonna happen. But if it ain't your time right now, don't beat yourself up. Just wait your time. Right now, he taking you through some steps that you need to know.
The art of waiting your turn. Most people don't even know how to wait an hour in between goon sessions. There is a lost art known as waiting your turn. Delayed gratification, staying down until you come up, some call it. The whole world, myself included, seem to struggle with this as the days go by and the number of TikToks increase. And I want to blame it on TikTok, since that's what most of us commentary channels do when there's any problem in today's world. But the truth of the matter is it comes from somewhere deeper. And TikTok honestly just amplifies and exposes this already forsaken reality. Let me explain to y'all the art of waiting your turn. The year was 1984. Before there was Lil Nas X's, there was Dennis Rodman. The NBA was full of coke sniffing, disco dancing, African booty scratcher looking basketball players. Basketball was completely different. Shooting wasn't as important as it is today, and everybody was a force to be reckoned with. Yet at the ripe age of 21, this one young man had the whole league shook. This young man stood out above the rest. He jumped out the gym. He contorted his body in ways others couldn't. It was almost like he was soaring through the air. People feared him despite him not being extremely tall or muscular. That guy's name was John Cena. No, I'm playing. It was Michael Jordan. All Michael Jordan wanted to do was win games, bets, and more importantly, championships and trophies. His only problem was he was a little undersized muscle-wise, and his teammates were a little booty cheeks. So he needed to learn when to hold the ball and when to pass the ball. So he started working out. He found ways to innovate and become a master of his craft. And he ultimately elevated and became the person he needed to be. And in 1991, years later, he went on to three-peat, winning 3 NBA championships back-to-back, winning finals MVP all 3 times. Took a year off, came back, and did the exact same thing. And what always stuck out to me about MJ was that he had to be Michael Jordan, the Black Cat, Air Jordan, for 7 years straight before he even got his first championship. If he would have slacked in that 7-year period or going, I'll just cruise by, as a lot of players do because they get millions of dollars and that's what they've been waiting for their whole life is money. If he would have said, I'm just gonna cruise until it's my turn, he would have missed his window. He would have never got a shot at a championship, I'm sure. But he instead gave his all at all times, no matter which game, no matter which practice, no matter who it was. And that's what separated him from everyone else. I feel like in today's world, a lot of people confuse being ready with God being ready. Just because you are ready doesn't mean it's your turn. That's why it's called waiting your turn. Most of us get caught in that your part because we all have a sense of entitlement, and that ends up clouding our judgment and vision. Another big part of waiting your turn is trusting in yourself, because a lot of the times while people are waiting in line for their turn, they end up getting tired of waiting. They try to find somebody farther ahead who got in line earlier, or they just flat out go home and say, I don't even feel like eating no more, I'm gonna just go to the vending machine. And it all stems from a lack of trust in self, because if you trusted in yourself like Michael Jordan Jordan, you would be fine waiting 7 years, less or more, because you know you already have it. It just takes its own time to manifest in the physical. And most give up in between this waiting period. One person that did not though, however, is one of our favorite guys to glaze these days. South Carolina's very own Duke Dennis. Shout out, I'm also from South Carolina, so shout out. I see so many people online talk about him like he's an overnight success and they have some sort of jealousy because they don't have what he has. Little do they know it has nothing to do with the material though. You know, it's like people are in line and they see that he's finally got to the front of the line. He's eating, he has all the most delicious food and he's getting full. He's having a fun time. But little do they know this man was sitting in line before half of us was even born. That is not a joke to say he's old. I know it sounds like that, but genuinely, I was born in 2005. This man was born in 1990 something. So Duke from 2016 all the way up until about 2021 would just stream and upload videos of 2K.
Yo, dude, what's good, dog? This your boy Duke Dennis. Y'all don't even know me yet, but y'all gon' know me.
But he was in the trenches for most of his life and half of his YouTube career.
For me last night to my boy, you ain't the best stretch big. I said, I don't care, but I'm giving you straight green buckets.
Duke at the age of 23 was sleeping on his mom's couch in a beat trailer, no job, no huzz, and to put the cherry on top, he watched his cousin take his last breaths by the hand of another nigga over a misunderstanding.
And the start shooting at me. Me and Dre linked up, bruh. And I told Dre, bro, I was like, bruh, I say, bro, I think he dead, bruh. When I finally get up to him, he laying on his stomach, bruh. The nigga shot my cousin in the back, bruh.
This was all in the midst of him uploading 2K videos. He literally was the most down bad you could be. L after L. They just kept coming. It seemed like there was nothing good coming for him.
About a month in, I had got my first letter. The letter was from my girlfriend, bro. It's over. I'm in the army. I am sitting here going crazy. I'm like, baby, don't leave. Not when I need you the most. Don't leave, though. You know what I'm saying? Please.
But he kept his eyes focused on his vision. He kept uploading every single day for 2 years straight, no breaks. He continued to wait his turn. I'm sure after all that, he felt like he deserved a break. And to be fair, he did. Like I said, just because you're ready, and even sometimes you think you're ready, that don't mean the universe is ready to give you what it's going to give you. Duke kept going, and by 2K19, so that would be late 2018, going on to 2019, he was one of the biggest content creators in the 2K community. But even still, the same way how Michael Jordan made it to the NBA, but he didn't get the championships he wanted, it's almost the same story with Duke Dennis, because although he was big in the 2K community, it wasn't nothing like how he is known outside of 2K. People know him for motivational talks, for just looking good, for just getting girls basketball, etc. He was just known specifically for 2K, and on a broad scale, he still wasn't that big. Until one day he shot that one video with Kai.
When you see a baddie at the party,
That day changed my life right there. When I woke up that next morning, I had actresses, WNBA players, female artists, Instagram models, everybody DMing me. No cap.
He waited his turn. This was after a lot of people would have got complacent because they already felt like they made it. He already made it out the hood. He already was touching 100K a month, but he still kept going because the mission wasn't over. And look at him now, to having no car, being cheated on, feeling ugly, being broke. After waiting your turn, all the curses would then turn into gifts. Everything he went through prepared him for what was coming towards him. But you also realize, since you just kept your head down and you kept going, you kept working, you don't even realize how long, however long it is that it takes you to get to where you're going, because you were just so in love with the process and the journey. If you don't prepare yourself to receive what you have, if you don't suffer, then you're not going to be able to appreciate your gifts and what God has blessed upon you.
Going to work, I'm getting off, I'm working on myself. Going to work, getting off, working on myself. I'm grinding 2K, and now, you know what I'm saying, 2K17, 2K18, 2K19, 2K20. Hey, I went hard, and now I'm in a position, look where I'm at, look what we doing, look at my life right now! It might not happen overnight, you know what I'm saying? It might take 5 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, it might take a little long, but that's how you really know who want it.
I remember I heard somebody say that God is delayed gratification and the devil is instant gratification. And ultimately, the universe tests you before it gives you what you want to make sure you learned all the lessons to not only maintain what you get, but again, to appreciate it. And this is normally what gets a lot of people a lot of the times. Right when all they gotta do is dig one more inch into the ground to get the gold, they give up. Or they take the temptation from the guy saying, yo, come this way, I found a little bit of gold over here. Instead of just focusing on this one wall right here, you just dig one more inch deeper. The gold's right there, but you let somebody come and take you, yo, come on, bro, I got a job for you, bro. I know you're broke right now. Come, bro, I got this job for you. You let your parents, you let everybody else, you let all these voices, this temptation stop you when you're this shy of getting what you want. It low-key reminds me of the 2016 XXL freshman class. I remember when they first came out, them as a whole, the hip-hop world collectively really just hated them. You know, they were different. They called them the mumble rappers, or they said they were a little too feminine, like, you know, Uzi, and just all these things because they went against traditionally what was. They essentially were trying to gatekeep them from entering the hip-hop sphere because they were in fear of them ruining it, when realistically, they were just changing and evolving the rap game. A lot of your modern day rappers today were heavily inspired and influenced by them. If they didn't kick the door open, it's a good chance that most artists today wouldn't even be around. And that was the temptation, the instant gratification. Because they could have let the noise win, taken that and got instant validation from the OGs, the fans, the charts, the money, the success. And some did do that. They did whatever all the, you know, white viewers and the consumers wanted to hear, like a Lil Pump who did what everybody else wanted to see instead of evolving and finding his own sound over time. But look at how far their careers went over the 2016 XXL freshmen, who came up at the exact same time as them. Although at first it looked like a failure and it was extremely painful being them at that time, it was essentially an uphill battle. The war was ultimately won. They waited their turn, and that's why we still know their names today and cop their music. Wait your turn. Stop looking at everybody else's plate or getting angry because you see everybody else eating. Don't let the hunger trick you out your spot, because not only will somebody else take your spot as soon as you leave it, but trust me when I say you will look back and realize that if you would have just waited a little bit longer, it would have been your turn.
What do you do and how much do you make?
I am an content creator and a full service worker. In December, I think I took home like 25 to 30K.
So how did you get into that role?
I started childhood modeling.
What kills most people's dreams?
Addiction to instant gratification. Alex Hormozy said, the longer you can keep going without seeing the results of your efforts, the bigger you'll be able to win in life. The truth is, 99% of people just end up giving up before the results catch up to their efforts.
In your road to success, there will be trials and tribulations in the form of people, pain, and opportunities. Instant gratification is one of the main ones that everybody has to overcome at some point, because it's a test of how long can you wait your turn. How long can you stay on your path and not be tempted by others? Will you take the $10,000 today, or will you wait an extra month and get the $1 million that you've been waiting for all along? We live in a world where everything is driven by instant gratification, even down to the way you eat. Instead of taking your own time to go and get some food, you can press a couple of buttons, then wait from the comfort of your home. And if you want, you can goon while waiting for your food. When life becomes that, art becomes that, because the art of any given period is just a reflection of life at that given time and what's in those people's hearts. So after hearing all those examples of how easy it is to pleasure yourself modern day in every way possible with very low effort, and sometimes even at the expense of others, it is no surprise that our world is getting a lot colder. It's harder to find videos that brighten up your day instead of dim it with drama. Or it's harder to find music that picks you up when you're feeling low instead of comforting you deeper into your depression. Our hearts are tainted. Instant gratification is one of the 7 deadly sins of your dreams. There's no way you can stay focused and wait your turn if you fall for instant gratification all the time. You ever heard of the term here today, going tomorrow, laugh now, cry later? That's instant gratification and what it does to a lot of people in their careers. With that, let me explain to you the art of instant gratification, or maybe a more fitting title for this video is the destruction of instant gratification. It was October of the year 2014, and a 21-year-old Lebanese woman had dreams of acting and being a model. She lost weight after being overweight her whole life and recently got a boob job done so she could get past her insecurity and to ultimately look more desirable for her modeling career. And randomly one day, it seemed like she finally got a break when an agent walked up to her, noticed her beauty, and gave her a compliment, and then later went on to invite her to a studio he worked at for a modeling opportunity.
You were spotted. What was it in you that far from running away, was drawn into it?
It was more so, oh, you're beautiful. Like, would you like to do some modeling? Oh, you have a great body. Like, I think you'd be great in nude modeling. Things like that. And after I came and toured the studio, it was, do you want to do this? Like, sign the paperwork, et cetera, et cetera.
So these guys, they just saw you, frankly, as a money machine.
Absolutely. And once I did that, I started garnering all of this attention from men, and I was never used to it. And I felt like unless I held on to it and kind of did what was asked of me or what was expected of me, it would go away. And after feeling what it was like, that validation and, the compliments for the first time, I did not want that to go away.
She accepted that position that she knew wasn't right in her heart because she got instant gratification, or more accurately, instant validation. Replace gratification at the end of instant gratification with anything you like or want to do. Instant pleasure, instant friends, instant love, instant food. Anything that is instant and doesn't take time to cultivate will never stand the test of time. And more importantly, when you choose the pleasures of today over the self-control of today that will bring the success of tomorrow, you will also inherit those negative effects of today tomorrow. You'll laugh now and you'll cry later. Mia Khalifa's biggest driving factor for doing this was because she didn't love herself. She didn't feel validated by anybody in her life. She didn't trust in herself to wait her turn for her career. And to make it worse, I found out today that during her whole career in this industry, she only made $12,000, $1,000 a video. And mind you, there was a point where she was the most searched woman online and the top influencer on websites. And she only made $12,000 because she signed a bad contract and took the instant gratification. And that's how it works. She got that instant $12,000, that instant validation from all those guys. But at what cost? She got a delayed lifetime of shame, loss of privacy, emptiness.
And you've moved on, but do you think there is some sort of post-traumatic stress that is in you from this experience?
Yes, and I think it kicks in mostly when I go out in public. The stares I get, I feel like people can see through my clothes, and it brings me deep shame. It makes me feel like I lost all right to my privacy, which I did because I'm one Google search away.
When you take that instant gratification over your own dreams, goals, and visions, you may feel good initially, but as time goes on, you'll be left feeling more and more empty because all you can think about is what would have happened if you would have stayed on your path. Why do you think guys get post-nut clarity and then feel terrible right after? One person who is a living testimony to this, in a warning I hope all of you watching heed, is Suki Hana. In 2019, she was an up-and-coming rapper who was desperately trying to get signed. She worked with no avail or any break in sight. That wasn't until she got a chance to sign with Colin Boulevard's Entertainment. But like a lot of rappers who are desperately trying to make it out of their situation, she didn't fully read the contract. So not until after signing did she realize that she had no control over her art, image portrayed to the public, or even her life in a sense. She sold her soul, aka her freedom. She later went online to share with the world this reality that overwhelmed her.
I want to tell y'all I apologize and I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but as far as this music stuff, I won't be doing this music stuff anymore. I started this because this was my dream, and I wanted to make sure I could get me and my kids out the hood. It's always been my passion to rap. A while ago, I had signed a contract and I didn't know nothing about the business or this game out here. And just right now, I'm realizing that I signed my soul. I sold my soul to the devil. I signed myself to the devil. I don't even own myself no more. And I done prayed. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. It's just like, I don't know if God can get me out of this, and I just want to say I'm sorry to my fans. I know y'all love me, I know y'all believe in me, but I didn't know what I was doing back then, and I lost passion. I don't even believe in myself no more because of what I did. I did not know the game was like this, and I'm just ready to go back to school. But I just made the biggest mistake that I ever made, and I just hope, if you're an artist, make sure you have an attorney to read over your contract, and don't let the person that you signed it to pick the attorney. Don't let them pay for the attorney either, because that means the attorney working for them.
Instant success, delayed effects. Instant food, delayed cancer. Instant love, delayed red flags. And if you look at her now, ever since that video, although she has the money and the validation she wanted, she's obviously empty inside the same way Mia Khalifa described.
Everybody was picking this video up about, you know, this bad deal that you signed.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot of people talk about that. A lot of people talk about the video, and during that time, like, you know, be real sensitive when they on their period. Like, I always be crying on my period. I did not know how this game was. I didn't know the business, and I just know if somebody flaunt a couple dollars at me and they like, well, listen, we could do this for you, we could do this. People say, well, I thought you sold your soul to the devil. Like, sold my soul to the devil. I'm like, I love making money. I get money always. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to get where you wanna be.
A telltale sign to somebody who lacks a lot internally is when you're in an argument with them or you try to bring up valid points to them and the first thing they throw out there is money. And Sukihana had to pay that ultimate price. The same as Mia Khalifa. She is seen as a public tool at this point who just makes degenerate music, which there's nothing wrong with. But if you look at that Suki video versus Suki now, I don't think this is what her younger self would have wanted for her today. And that's something we often forget when we say delayed effects. It doesn't just apply to you. It applies to those who come after you as well. What you leave behind today is what will be picked up, studied, and mimicked by those of tomorrow, which is why you have to be very careful of what you put out there. It's why somebody like a Sexy Red is so dangerous. She is the living embodiment of instant gratification. Everything she does, everything she raps about is all about how you feel today. And because a certain group of people Black people is a race of people where a good majority is driven by instant gratification, she is a perfect tool used by those who benefit off us staying in this instant gratification mindset. Female artists, Black ones specifically, are no longer talking about love, what is actually in their heart, their delayed feelings of life, because they don't want to take that longer route of becoming artists. They instead talk about instant feelings, instant sex, things that they may not always feel. Like, I mean, there's so many female artists who talk about, you know, cheating on people, leaving dudes, but come to find out behind the scenes, they actually got boyfriends and husbands. But they do that because they see a Sexy Red who got instant validation and gratification money from that, so they follow suit right behind. As I said, us today, what we do will be picked up, studied, and mimicked by those tomorrow. The good thing about this though is there's not much to really worry about, because those who enjoy the instant feelings of the summer and neglect the delayed effects of winter often freeze and have no food in the cold times. So as much as people hate on individuals like these women, one, it's never cool to hate on women or anybody for real at that. But two, the natural order of things will always restore and self-correct on its own time. So deny yourself now and receive everything later, or give yourself everything today at the cost of tomorrow. And that's the true art, and more importantly, the destruction of instant gratification.
Anybody that's shooting for something extremely high, you have to start with
a little irrational.
A little irrational, because if you were to let logic or rationality, you wouldn't make it, because
too many
everything,
obstacles.
The numbers, the odds,
you can't do that.
The odds are in your favor. It's a strength. I still have the same delusion from when I was 6 and 12.
That's it. How did it feel to you? Let me think. Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.
Don't count yourself out. You gonna have people ignore, like, they trying to like take away from your blessings. Don't count yourself out. Look.
Dad's broke, bro, with no money, no power, no food at the crib, food stamps. Mama she don't got no car. She don't know where the fuck next meal coming from. Lamborghini, but them niggas used to be bombs, bro. Like, nigga, them niggas used to be bombs, nigga. I used to be a fucking bomb, bro.
As humans, one of the exclusive skills that we have that no other creature on this earth has is the ability to analyze and think about situations over an extended period of time. But see, if your gift is not used in the right way, then it will eventually turn into a curse. Overthinking is something we do in society due to various reasons. Like, you know, Instagram baddies saying they want a man that's 6'6", 6 feet tall, 6 inches, and makes over 6 figures a year. Men saying they want a big booty Latina who is basically just a robot who cooks, clean, and sucks dick. To be successful in life is to be happy, to be fulfilled, to experience love. We get so used to having to think about stuff to make things happen, or so we think we thought it into existence. And to be fair, sometimes it is that thinking that allows us to advance in this life. But I found more times than not, it is not even close to that is what gets us this far. It is not our own thoughts and ideas that we are communicating through various art forms and words, but we are merely just the mediums for these ideas to speak through that want to be heard. So often, what gets in your way to take that final step to walk through the door to get what you want after waiting your turn is quite literally the same thing that got us this far. Thinking. Your gift can be just as easily your curse. I know this sounds backwards right now, but let me explain the art of not thinking. On August 29th, 1958, in Gary, Indiana, a star was born. A Virgo, an angel some would call. This kid at the age of 5 could already dance better than most grown men. Had a stage presence at 5 that most artists today aspire to get one day. And if none of this by itself impressed you, well, just wait till the kid actually opened his mouth to sing. A god was created. I know there's the ongoing joke of Michael's dad, Joseph, with a belt in one hand and a guitar in the other, saying, you know what I'm saying, you better get these moves right, and if you don't, I'm gonna whoop your ass. But regardless, Michael genuinely had a love for music, dancing, and expressing himself through these art forms. You could hear it in his melodies. The pain that was caused for the advancement of his music from his childhood was also his therapy. His curse was also his gift. But you don't get to that level of Michael Jackson talent-wise, success-wise, with just pure thinking or even practice. And I want to make it clear for all of you reactors probably watching this right now with y'all Lego my ego head ass who finna sit here and say, well, you gotta work, bro, don't neglect the execution. The work will naturally be there when the love is there, which Michael had. But more importantly, Michael didn't think about his art. He let it naturally come to him. Most of Michael Jackson's biggest well-known songs were spurts of inspiration.
How do you write a song?
How do I write a song? Well, if I sat here and played some chords, whatever, and say, I'm gonna write the best song I've ever written, nothing happens. Something in the heavens has to say, look, this is the time that this is gonna be laid on you, and this is when I want you to have it. Now, I remember when I wrote Billie Jean, I was riding in my car down Ventura Boulevard. All I said to myself beforehand, I wanna write a song with a great bass hook, you know, and I just let it go, really. And then several days later, you know, you know, the whole
Where did that come from?
From above. See, the thing is, artists seem to get in the way of the music. Get out of the way of the music. You know, don't write the music. Let the music write itself.
The dance as well?
Yeah, same thing.
What's going through your mind when you're dancing?
Not thinking. Thinking is the biggest mistake a dancer could make. You have to feel. You become the fanfare. You become the clarinet and the flute and the strings and the drums.
So you're almost the physical embodiment of the music.
When you don't think, you enter a state of openness, a flow state, some call it, to receive the right messages at the right time. If your phone's on Do Not Disturb because you're so busy up there, well, then you can miss the call that'll change your life. The same goes for the ideas and thoughts that you need to receive at the right time to accomplish the dream and goal that you've been working for and waiting for so long. But we often get tricked into thinking that we need to think harder, we need to grind harder, we need to force this work. And that could be the case for some, but if this video found you, I don't think that's so. When you watch Michael Jackson dance, sing, and talk, everything is put together and on point, but it's also very smooth and open and up for interpretation. Effortless, you could even say. You never hear Michael trying to sing good, you know what I mean? He's being an instrument for the creative energy to work through him to convey a message to people. And look at how many hearts he impacted, how many lives he saved and changed. But if he tried to think about any of these things, just as he said, they never would have came. You can't rationalize love. You can't rationalize abundance. It's like trying to rationalize why the earth makes trees create oxygen for us to live. Why is there so many trees for so many animals? There's no logical reason except love. When my mom was first teaching me and my sister how to swim, one of the first things she taught us was how to float. And what determined if you were gonna sink or if you were going to float is how still you could be, how much you could turn off your brain and not think, how much could you let go and have trust in the water to carry you. And anybody who has ever floated in water knows once you let go and stop thinking about it, you're completely fine. And that's when you start to float. It's when you stop, think, and try to rationalize how this water is carrying you, your fear of the water, that is when you sink. Nature really is one of the greatest teachers.
One of the most important things to being successful is listening. It's listening and watching.
Another reason a lot of people let thinking get in their way is due to the rationalization and being comfortable in the rationalization of oneself. The natural limitations that you put on yourself. You don't even know how far you're gonna go in this life. And more times than not, the only thing that limits you are the only limitations you put on yourself. I say all the time, I feel like if we stopped telling kids that they couldn't fly, eventually kids would start flying. Your mind, the same as the universe, isn't some machine that goes, this is right, this is wrong, but it is rather a well that takes in what it is told, actions and thoughts included, and puts it back out with that exact same force. One person that has mastered not thinking and rationalizing and putting limits on their self is one of the biggest streamers in the world, Kai Cenat.
Kai, where's your YouTube channel? I got one thing to say. Welcome to my YouTube channel!
One thing about Kai that has always stuck out to me about him was the spontaneity of his art. Even really down to the way he came up. Kai would make Instagram skits and YouTube videos mainly in high school, which gained a little bit of traction since, you know, everybody in New York knows everybody. But he realized in his senior year that he needed to take this content creation thing serious. So he made a vow to himself that he would post on YouTube every other day and post a skit every day on Instagram. And he did exactly that. If you go to Kai Cenat's Facebook page, you can literally see him posting a skit and YouTube video almost every single day for a year straight. Some did good, some did bad, some were cringy, some were funny. And he built a decent platform from doing these skits, ding dong ditch videos blowing up on his channel, and he recently started linking up with his soon-to-be household name group AMP. But he still wasn't one of the biggest streamers in the world. He was just a successful content creator at this point. Until that one day.
From 1 to 10, like from 1 to 10.
Okay, first of all, it don't matter. I'm a girl. I'm gonna say all girls are cute. Like, that's not even, like, accurate.
Oh,
my.
Yep.
Oh, just aside, you dirty. I was say shout out to Maury Van Rap. See that, you dirty mother. Why you got rap in your crib? What? What's up? Why is there raps in your crib, Kyle? Talk to me. Talk to me.
I don't know, bro.
So in 1 year, you became the #1 streamer.
Yeah, basically.
What the fuck? Why do you think that happened?
I was literally in like my mom's house, and like the first big thing that happened was a like mouse ran out behind me, like a mouse on live on stream, like with like 5,000 people watching. At first I was so embarrassed. I was like, everywhere, it's over. You feel what I'm saying?
But that went viral.
Yeah, it went viral, but it went viral in a good way. Like, and I just kind of realized, like, I'm not gonna lie, this is what they want to see. You feel what I'm saying? They want to see how I live.
After this clip went viral, Kai Cenat officially became one of the most iconic streamers the industry has seen and started his climb to the top. And well, y'all know the rest of that story. But the same as Michael Jackson, notice how the thing that sent him over the top into his stardom, his most iconic clips are of him not thinking. They are very spontaneous and they kind of just happen to him.
You good? You good? Bae, you good?
What's up? It's on the phone. Nick, listen. Talk about
the blood clot this. Oh, you mean with the blood clot? You see what me I do? She didn't put the phone with a real general. No, put them up on the phone now. Put them on the bomb clot. Now.
He was just floating, being himself. By not forcing the viral moment, the universe naturally brings them. You ever tried to be funny around a group of people and it's just awkward because it's not funny? Versus when you're just in your element, you just talking your shit, you just joking, and the jokes just flow so well. When you chase the dog of ideas, it's in its nature to naturally run away. The grandest, most iconic moments, songs, and content is not well thought out or completely planned out most of the times in the beginning. More times than not, it is rather stumbled upon. The same way your best friend or partner, you end up meeting them one day because you happen to be late to class, or you sat in the wrong seat, or you randomly go into a store one day. Divine timing, some call it. The other big reason you must not think, and one one of the most important is due to the dichotomy of your self-image. As I said before, the limitations you have are the ones you put and think about yourself. Your perception of what you believe about yourself in your own life is what the world and people will reflect onto you. One thing I want y'all to realize is the most famous rich person y'all look up to and you wish you had their life, understand that they were once just like you. The spotlight, the money, the validation is a reflection of something that changed on the inside, not the outside. And once you apply that basic principle, you will realize there is nothing you can't have because you don't even think that there is anything you can't have. You naturally feel like you can have anything. A perfect example of this is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Now, yes, we have all heard about the infamous story of Michael Jordan getting cut in 10th grade from his varsity team and getting sent down to JV. He was 5'10" at the time, and coaches didn't see too much of a promising future of him besides him just being a key role player. And with his parents being 5'10" and 5'5", it didn't seem like he had much growing to do either. But Michael Jordan thought different of himself. He didn't care about the limitations that the coaches put on him for just being a short role player, but also he didn't care about the same limitations that his parents' genetics put on him height-wise. Call me crazy, but I believe Michael Jordan was so delusional that he willed the body, height included, that he needed to accomplish his dreams. Because when you try to think about it logically and rationalize it, when you try to look at yourself and go, that's not possible. Because when you try to think about it logically and rationalize it, he wasn't supposed to be nowhere near his height. None of his brothers even touched 5'9". When you think about it, it wasn't supposed to happen that way. All of the signs were saying this ain't for you. If he thought about it, he would have logically told himself that rationally this was not possible. And a lot of people in that same position, no matter what it is in life, I'm gonna say 99% of people will succumb and continue to fall for that rationalization of thinking. Some people will say that's because he's one in a million, that he made it through and he accomplished and he growed that tall. But why is he one in a million? Because he believed. He didn't think. Because thinking requires logical proof to back it up. Belief and faith requires none of that. He believed that he was good enough to make it to the NBA. And after practice, confidence, and applying it, the world believed it too. His mind made his body believe it too and made him grow.
Determination, what your motives are, what your ambitions were from the beginning. It's been a lot of soul searching in terms of it's easy to sit back and say, well, I've given my best. I'm tired, somebody else got to do it or whatever. I didn't take that approach. I thought positively and said, whatever I could do, every little inch of energy that I have, I'm gonna try to provide for this team. I mean, if you give up, then they give up. So I didn't want to give up. No matter how sick I was, or how tired I was, or how, low on energy I was, I felt the obligation, to my team, to the city of Chicago, to go out and give that extra effort.
For these things to work, you most importantly have to have a love for what you're doing. Each one of these individuals had a love for the thing they were doing, even when it was not working or it didn't look promising. And that's because love isn't thinking, it's in trusting, knowing, feeling. It's why a mama lion will die protecting her cub the same way your mom would for you. And only one of those creatures, us being the humans, have the ability to critically think and rationalize. It's why a mom can see a car on her baby and through brute strength lift it up. Love. It's the pure love that radiates through us all. It connects us. It requires no thinking. That alone will continue to fuel the fires of our souls and allow us to receive what is needed on our journeys. And that is the true art of not thinking.
Said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
I thought he was God for a second, man. It was like, I've never experienced anything like it. And the entire room is watching this happen. And they were like, what is happening right now? And he was so lost in it. I think he had his eyes closed. I don't even know if he knew what was going on. I think you see this happen. Sometimes you see it happen in sports. Sometimes you see it happen in music. Sometimes you see it happen in comedy. I'm sure we can all think of moments where maybe we even felt like something is happening. I'm not in control of all this. There's something else going on. What do you think that is?
I think that there is a unitary force under things. And I think when you get out of the way, it comes through you. And I think when we're describing genius in athletics or arts, what we're describing is that process exactly of channeling, that the person just gets out of the way.
Flow state, two important sets of conditions. And very often people only talk about one, and that's a little bit of a misrepresentation. The flow state is in situations in which the demand of the situation is slightly beyond your skills. So you both have to apply all the skills you can with as much attention and concentration as you possibly can, and you have to actually be stretching your skills. Now, in this circumstance, people report optimal experience. Optimal in two ways. Optimal in that this is one of the best experiences I've had in my life. It's distinct from pleasure, but they also mean optimal in a second sense. My best performance.
Flow state, the feeling of being divinely focused on a task at hand and doing it extremely well. Kobe Bryant on January 22nd, 2006, where he went up against the Toronto Raptors, and he was so focused in on the game that after putting up shots after shots and playing immaculate defense, he checked the scoreboard and realized that he scored 81 points, the second most scored points ever in an NBA game. When he was asked how he did so, he described it as an out-of-body experience of supreme confidence.
When you get in that zone, it's just a supreme confidence that you know it's going in. It's not a matter of if or this, that, it's going in. Things just slow down. You know, everything slows down. You just have supreme confidence. When you get in the zone, you just kind of stay there. You become oblivious to everything that's going on. You don't think about your surroundings or what's going on with the crowd or the team.
Where he went so fast and was so far ahead that he couldn't even recall himself driving the car.
I suddenly realized that I was no longer driving it conscious, and I was in a different dimension. The circuit for me was a tunnel, which I was just going, and I realized I was well beyond my conscious understanding.
Ayrton was multiple seconds into the lead, had the race in hand, with only a handful of laps to go, and he received a radio message that said, "You are so far in the lead, slow down."
This is the art of flow, being in the zone, some call it. The state in which time ceases to exist and you push yourself so far past limits, and it is just your consciousness focusing on a task at hand so well and so present that you and the thing you're doing become one and you flow effortlessly. This is one of the most beautiful feelings that a person can experience in this life. It's where all of the greatest art comes from. But the question I really hope you're asking yourself right now after hearing all this is, how do I get into flow state? Because I'm going to break down exactly how to get in the flow state, and more importantly, how to stay in the flow state, because this is where your greatest performance, fulfillments, and experiences in life will come from. To explain this, I've noticed that there's certain stages that a person comes up to get in the flow state. Let me explain. The first stage you run into to enter flow state is interest, interchangeable with obsession. Something has to catch your eye at first glance. Maybe it's a mic, maybe it's a basketball, a football, a camera, a paintbrush. Whatever it is, it has to catch your attention immensely. Once you find that thing, for me it was video creation. You study it immensely. You become obsessed. All night and day, this is the only thing you can think about. This is what you study. You talk to any and everybody that will listen to this thing that literally makes your eyes light up when you talk about it. You see things others don't see. You appreciate the art immensely.
I have not seen a basketball player consistently get to a flow state better than you. Are there exercises you do? Is it your training? How are you able to capture that? We talked about the look away shot. That's being in flow state, right? Not many people ever get to that. You get to that so consistently.
Because a part of the training, and anybody who's watched me train in the summers or our approach, even in season skill work and all that, there's a level of obsession about the details when it comes to footwork, when it comes to balance, when it comes to how the ball's entering the rim at the right angle, arc, and all that type of stuff. There's a legit obsession around that, and I feel like that's been developed over the course of my life. But
the next stage after you appreciate the art is applying it. The grind stage, you could say. All the studying, obsession, and appreciation has led you to the point of now applying it in real life. Shooting 1,000 shots every single day. Practicing that one punch over and over again until it becomes second nature. Singing the same note again and again until you find that perfect chord. For me, I was making videos about various topics with various styles of editing every single week, if not day. The best way to understand something is literally by actually doing it. And flow state is supreme confidence. And confidence comes from the understanding or knowing of something.
It taking 13 years to get to some money. How you gonna hate? You can't hate him. I was broke. Yeah, when you see me, I had nappy braids. Yeah, my stomach was hurting. It really was hurting. I really starved some nights, man. Know what I mean? So if it could take me 13 years, why can't it take you 7?
Get on your grind. Start now.
And this second stage is where a lot of people give up. The frustration gets to them and they stop digging inches away from getting the goal that they've been looking for their whole journey. You throw your hands up, you're mad, you're ready to quit. You get out of the way of the energy. This is where flow happens.
In the struggle phase, you push hard, hitting friction and resistance. Most people quit here, but if you ease off just a bit, entering release, you shift into a lighter state. This is where the prefrontal cortex quiets down and your subconscious takes the wheel. Then it happens, flow. Your actions become effortless, time warps. You stop thinking and start being. Your brain floods with dopamine, norepinephrine, and anandamide, chemicals of peak performance and euphoria. The brain, given the right balance of pressure and surrender, automatically unlocks flow.
The reason often why this state is normally reached after somebody lets go or almost gives up is because oftentimes we are in the way of the magic force that wants to work through us. We have all these preconceived notions of what we think and what's possible and not impossible that we literally try to rationalize miracles and make them detract away from us. So it's not until after we almost give up, or even in some cases give up, then and only then does it allow the energy to finally become attracted to us. And that's where the power of God is shown. This is present in basketball, music, writing, acting, cutting grass, doing math equations. It is present in all life as nothing is new under the sun. We all are just a part of a grander story, and we take bits and pieces from that story for ourselves to share, experience, and consume. Flow is understanding this force and trusting it. The reason I got my first ever viral video, The Art of Waiting Your Turn, was not only because I've been waiting my turn, studying the people I've been talking about for years, so I was able to speak about it effortlessly, but also because I made a promise to myself at that time that I was gonna post for 30 days straight and not check my analytics. I wasn't gonna worry about how the last video did and let that spill into the next video I was gonna make. So by not checking my analytics, I didn't get caught up in all these negative emotions and negative self-talk and fear that a bad performing video can put in you. And by not caring about my last shot that I missed, it made it that much easier for me to visualize and see myself making the next shot and then the next shot after that. And it was through this detachment and just being present on the video I was making currently, I was able to receive the idea and successfully execute it. It's really funny when you think about us as humans too. It's like you don't trust yourself to attract $1 million. You don't trust yourself to attract the right people for you to you. You don't trust your mind, a literal universal computer, to attract the reality you want. You don't trust it to keep you safe. You don't trust it to not let you fall. That's all it is really. I wish I could say more, but that's literally all it is. Being present, trusting, and never giving up. You do that and trust not me, but yourself, the universe, the God you come from, and everything else will work out, because that's the art of flow.
I got supreme confidence in shooting the ball, and if I'm shooting it, I think I'm gonna make it. The confidence is always there. Me coming down, pulling up for three, that's what I love to do. I feel like if I shoot that shot, I'm gonna make it every single time.
If you get to a point where you love yourself, you're gonna start taking care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna start having confidence. And once you start having confidence, people is gonna start seeing you have confidence. The way you walk gonna be better. The way you talk gonna be better. The way you feel gonna be better. The way you live is gonna be better, bro. You know what I'm saying?
How did you end up building that courage, that confidence in yourself into the person you are today?
I had to fail a lot. And I failed so many times that I couldn't fail no more. And so it just got to a point where I built a resilience because I'm not afraid of losing. Yeah. And I think that's how I'm able to walk with this confidence, because I've been embarrassed so many times, nothing can embarrass me anymore.
To me, the mentality is a really simple one in the sense that the confidence comes from preparation. You know, so when the game's on the line, I'm not asking myself to do something that I haven't done thousands of times before, right? So when I prepare, I know what I'm capable of doing, I know what I'm comfortable doing, and I know what I'm not comfortable doing. Right? So in those moments, if it looks like I'm ice cold or not nervous, it's because I've done it thousands of times before. So it's one more time.
Confidence is what water and sunshine is to a plant. It electrifies, it enhances, it allows things to be sped up in the growing process. It quite literally gives life. So many people these days just keep talking about consistency, mindless grind, and extraneous efforts and things. But has the thought ever occurred to you? Why do so many people in today's world work so hard, yet they never reap the benefits of their work? Why do so many athletes aimlessly practice for hours, invest in trainers, and still for some reason can never break through to their full potential and become professionals? Why do so many artists have talents beyond this world? You know who I'm talking about. You might have a homie like this, or you might even be said homie with that one J. Cole type complex who is so raw at whatever they do. I'm talking when they get in their bag, nobody is going toe to toe, yet they fully never allow themselves to fly and be the person that they know they can be. And when you look at them, it's obvious that they lack something. People think they can outwork this lack, but seldom do they realize you can't externally outwork something that you lack internally. This thing I speak of is none other than confidence. And confidence is nothing more than the internal security and trust in one's ability and potential in life, or a trust of the God that is within you, that you could say. A lot of artists, athletes, and even people in today's world lack confidence. From very early on in our lives, a lot of us are told to not follow and trust in ourselves, but rather trust in a God, people, or a corporation that is outside of you. We're told stories of people not realizing their dreams, following them, and living life the way they wanted, but instead we are shown of those who listen to everybody else. You add on top of this social media, and it's showing you an unhealthy amount of things that they illusion you to believe that you lack. And before you know it, you get a generation of people seeking out total approval from others and mistaking it as revolution when it's really just a lack of confidence and an enabler of insecurity. To all my artists, athletes, and people out there, you can't outwork what's internally externally. You don't look at your car when the engine is messed up and say, well, maybe I need to get a new paint job to fix this engine. So no matter how many jump shots or cones you dribble around, if you don't feel like you are good enough and that you deserve to be on that court, when the time comes, you will fold. To all my YouTubers, no matter how many videos you post, no matter how consistent you are, if you don't feel like you deserve views, if you are unconfident in the art you are putting out, think of it kind of like this. People are but mere reflections to you. Why do you like Pepsi? Because Pepsi consistently brings you a product and they're confident that this product will satisfy you. So even if Pepsi is not that good compared to a lot of other sodas, their supreme confidence that you will like the soda almost gives you a placebo effect of saying the soda is good, and it makes it where it is socially normal to consume Pepsi. So if you are unconfident and not sure in your own product that you are trying to sell, why would other people be confident and sure of buying it? To all my musical artists out there, if you feel like you don't deserve to be next to Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Tyler, Nicki, Doechii, then nobody else will either. Work is not the key to success. Confidence and consistency in the right mindset is. For example, Travis Hunter. For all the unacquainted, Travis Hunter is a professional football player for the Jacksonville Jaguars who gained traction in late high school for his unique play style, youthful spirit, and extreme confidence while being mic'd up in games.
Oh yeah. You rip that song, boy. Yeah, you little bitch. Small as shit, little bitch.
Guns it. Sanders in a pocket. Oh, what a catch. Travis Hunter. Give him the Heisman now.
While he is on his way to be in the conversation for potentially being one of the greatest to ever do it, he recently has been sparking a lot of controversy for his lacking confidence when choosing women.
Travis Hunter's wife is demanding a $40 million settlement less than a year after they just got married. I believe they just got married in May, so was it June, July, August? 3 months after marriage.
But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think Travis Hunter is the best football player in the country for his age and all throughout college and high school? You're probably thinking it's because of his go-to genetics or because he works harder than everybody else. And it's just like, bro, look at you, bro. You got so much to learn. It's all right, though. I got you. Both of those are wrong. Because see, there's football players in the world that work harder than Travis. There's football players with better genetics and athletic attributes. But one thing that you can't find in a lot of athletes that makes Travis Hunter a generational talent is his supreme confidence.
I mean, it's just nobody ever done what I've been doing. Yes, so it's pretty much that simple. I mean, I have an offensive stack. I sealed the game on defense. I sealed the game on offense. Nobody ever done that before. And it's just pretty much easy for me. You can see the game, it speaks for itself for me. I just go out there and play and work hard every day.
I'm not brushing off the fact that yes, he has good genetics and that he works extremely hard.
Hey, bro. Trying to tell you, bro. I should have been a hooper for real, bro. I'm snatching ankles, I'm dunking on you. I'm just him.
But none of that would matter if the confidence and genuine belief that he deserves to be on that field, he deserves to get the ball, he deserves whatever he wants regarding football. If none of that wasn't there, then it wouldn't matter how hard he worked. When you look at him play, you can genuinely see that he has a deep level of trust in himself and his abilities.
I'm finna go ahead and scare these boys right quick before we even step on the field for real. I feel that energy, boy. We ain't playing around, boy. We ain't playing around, boy.
As I said, confidence is none other than the trust in one's potential and ability to do something. And that comes from not only trusting in the work that you put in, but also not overworking, which a lot of people do to try to make up for their lack of confidence.
How many plays do you think you could play? You think you can play them all?
Yeah, I definitely think I could play them all. If I didn't think I could play them all, I wouldn't be trying to do it.
But what makes you able to do that? Nobody's ever done that. What makes you capable of doing that?
Just my mental. You gotta have the right mindset going into it. You gotta have the right knowledge. You gotta understand what you're doing when you're going out there. You gotta understand how to take care of your body too.
See, when you have a conviction so strong, a belief in oneself about something, it's natural in the order of the universe for everything around you to bow down and submit. This is why some people feel like they can't get women because they play video games, watch anime, or because they are not traditionally what that culture accepts. But on the other side of that, there's people who do all of those things and have a certain level of self-comfort and love that people don't even think about those things when choosing them. If you aren't confident in yourself, you're right. If you are confident in yourself, you're also right. The world is nothing but a reflector. I mean, where do you even think an artist like Kanye comes from? Without an unshakable and delusional amount of confidence, we would have never gotten Kanye. And while that same confidence is what kind of turned him into what he is today.
You hear about slavery for 400 years? For 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?
That confidence birthed some of the most iconic moments and life-changing art to ever be conceived on Earth.
You know, another thing, I think I have stigma of being arrogant because I say something like, yo, I'm gonna sell 10 million, right? And I feel like those are people that just have low self-esteem and they want to try to push that onto you. I don't feel like I can do it. I don't feel like you could do it. And I ask them a question like that, like, you think Lauryn Hill could sell 10 million? They say, yeah, of course Lauryn Hill could sell 10 million. I'm like, well, you fucking doubting me then. You're saying, you're basically telling me you're no Lauryn Hill, whatever, you know Eminem, you know 50 Cent. And how you know what I am? How you know what I'm gonna do? Did you know if they was the one that was gonna do it? Did you know Lauryn Hill was when she was with the Fugees? Did you know Eminem when he was freestyling? You know what I'm saying? So how can y'all call that? I'm just confident. I don't feel like I'm arrogant at all. I feel like I'm one of the most humble people there are. And the more and more accomplishments I have, the less and less I have to talk about it, and the less and less arrogant it comes off because it's proven at that point. Until the point where it's proven, I gotta tell you because nobody believes it. And I'm just telling y'all just so I can floss later. And I'm gonna talk so much shit because I know that I practice hard as hell. I know that I work for this. I know that when I get the opportunity, I'm gonna be able to jump for that motherfucking 3-point line and do a 360 dunk.
Confidence is something that is not giving, but it is rather something that is developed. It is something that anyone is always capable of being. Confidence is even the basis of flow state, a supreme trusting in knowing in the abilities that you have within you to carry you wherever you need to go. Without confidence, a lot of artists would have never gotten on. They would have never broken through when it was at a time an uphill battle for them.
You talked about my confidence.
Yes, ma'am.
This confidence is truly built and nurtured. I was not always this confident. I was not always in environments that made me feel proud to be a dark-skinned, outspoken girl. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
And so this confidence is truly built behind closed doors. I made a choice that I refuse.
That's right. That's right.
I refuse to be anything but happy. And I made a choice that I was going to be myself no matter what it took and no matter what anybody said about me. And that confidence I bring with me on this couch right now today. And that's the same confidence that I decided to pour into this project. I wanted to give people a audio visual experience of what it is like living in my skin.
See, you understand the world doesn't give you confidence. In every waking moment of life is an opportunity to show you and test to see how confident really are you. The power of confidence will turn an average, unseen person into a rich superstar. So for all the viewers out there, get some confidence. Stop trying to outwork yourself because the same as your shadow, you can't outrun you.
Who cares?
care about other people's opinions. That's what I think is the number one thing. And when you step outside and you do what you do, dress and live for yourself and for the satisfaction of yourself, a lot of people do that just so someone can tell them that they're pretty. But the person that you should be waiting to hear "I'm pretty" from is yourself.
Well, well, aren't you the confident one? Another proud Namekian soon to be begging for mercy just like all the rest.
Shut the hell up.
We don't give a
Jesus! Nothing you say or do will ever make me admit you're cool.
You know what, Benson? I just realized something. We don't care what you think.
They don't care what other people think.
In a world where everybody has their opinion to give, showing more and more hate as time goes on, it's very important to be secure in yourself, because how can any man on the outside conquer you if you have already conquered everything on the inside? The art of not giving a f, some call it. Similar to the art of being yourself, but this is after you find and understand yourself. To be successful in a way that will fulfill you and to contribute to your true purpose that will ultimately help the world, you gotta be unapologetically yourself and walk in that and accept whatever repercussions and judgments that come alongside that. With that, let me explain to you all the art of not giving a fuck. Life is all about push and pulls. The more you care about something, normally the opposite direction it goes. Don't believe me? Well, just try meeting a girl and you automatically start texting her 24/7. You start telling her how much you completely care about her and you want to devote your life to her, and see how quick she goes to you. On the opposite side of that though is whenever you don't care, something magically happens to the world around you. It's like when you don't care about something, it forces the energy or the person on the other side of that to care. It puts value on you as a person. Because if you don't care about a lot of things, whatever you do care about must be really worth caring about, including your art. Here's a quick thing you can do to test this in real time. Everybody that you've been talking to lately and you just been open and sharing things with them, you know, your mom, your sister, your best friend, whoever, just go 3 days without telling them stuff. Be a little bit more reserved, uninterested in communicating, and see how much closer they pay attention to your words, how less likely they are to hop on their phone mid-conversation. Businesses that are always sold out or only have limited drops for products always sell out within the first week. And whenever you look at their designs look like bullshit half the time. It looks like they quite literally didn't give a fuck while making it. But that's because there's value in the uninterested. There's value in scarcity. A person who is really good at doing this is Duke Dennis. Like, Duke used to just yap all the time.
In 100K, baby, you know what I'm saying? Y'all see these waves? A beat, I was trying to beat a case, yeah, but I ain't beat that case. I did the race. But anyway, man.
He'd say the most randomest-ish in his videos, and he was pretty much a normal dude. That was, of course, until, you know, he got money and he got famous and all that. But the reason why so many people are interested in Duke Dennis, especially the woman, is due to his unbothered, uninterested demeanor. Guys rush to take pictures of him, validate him.
The next person I think is Duke. Duke is gonna be good. Wait, what? Wait, huh? Gonna be good. What? Wait, whoa. Wait, what the? Yo,
I believe that Duke is going to be good.
What makes you say that?
I can see it. I can see it.
Women rush to take pictures with him, validate him, compliment him. And no matter who it is, how pretty, how rich, how famous, it seems like he really doesn't give a fuck.
Duke Dennis, what's up?
And just like I said, when you don't give a fuck, it forces the opposing energy to give a fuck. It's almost like the more he doesn't care, the cooler he looks. Something that could be perceived as lazy or corny on someone else instead turns into cool, nonchalant, and effortless.
If she look at you more than once, tell her to come here, bro.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie.
So now, due to that unbotheredness and his already scarce public image, it forces others to wonder about him and want to see more of his life. And the only other place you can see him is in his art. So anytime he posts something, the interactions and engagements is off the chart, because due to that scarcity of his accessibility, it lets people know unconsciously that since he doesn't post often, when he does post something, it's worth listening to. And now, no matter what he does, it goes viral.
From here on out, just be you. Just be yourself, bro. Don't worry about what nobody else saying about you. Don't worry about what nobody else talking about. Just be you. Just be yourself. Wanna know why? Because at the end of the day, bro, they gonna have something to say about you regardless. If you're doing good, they gonna still talk about you. If you're doing bad, they gonna talk about you anyway. Man, just be you, just be yourself, do you, mind your own business, and don't worry about what people in the street saying about you, bro. There's one thing I don't really had to teach myself, I gotta constantly remind myself, like, bro, they gonna talk about you anyway, but they talked about Jesus Christ, bro. What makes you think they ain't gonna talk about you the same way? They're gonna talk about you even worse, bro.
Another reason it's so important to not give a fuck when creating is because some of your best work comes from whenever you don't give a fuck. A lot of times we as artists let the fear of rejection due to others' expectations, but also more times than not, our own imaginary fears get to our head and stop us from creating the thing that we actually want to create. Somebody who I see combat this time and time again, even if in the midst of this some of his work is straight malarkey, is the zesty vampire himself, Playboi Carti. Shout out, he's also a fellow Virgo. Playboi Carti, despite all the hate, has been going through this cycle since the beginning of his career. Around 8 years ago, around this exact same time, Playboi Carti was coming up with the new era of SoundCloud rappers. But Playboi Carti was different. He had a sound that stood out above the rest. He used synths, 808s, and wave transitions that felt like a glimpse into the future. It wasn't long after the release of his song titled Magnolia that he garnered a cult-like following. And as I explained earlier with Duke Dennis, it seemed like he didn't care what anybody had to say about him or his music. So to his fans, that created a much cooler energy around it, and in a sense a bond, because a lot of people hide their true selves due to fear of judgment from others. So to them, Carti's music is therapeutic and a form of self-expression. And then on top of that, just like Duke, he doesn't give the public much access to him. And as I said, there's value in scarcity. So when people want more of him and they can't get it directly because he doesn't do many interviews, he doesn't post often, they pay very, very close attention to his art. So anytime he drops, which is very rare, regardless of however good the project is, regardless of whatever he got going on behind the scenes, good or bad, it does crazy numbers. Him not giving a fuck forces the world to.
Relax, double. Just chill. Shit.
Give him a hat, give him a hat.
On the opposite side of this tool of not giving a fuck, you can also use consistent output of giving a fuck to mix with not giving a fuck. A lot of people's problem actually is that they are too nonchalant. Sometimes while trying to look cool and sought after, you neglect actually building yourself into a point where that is so. People these days don't want to form connections with other artists. They don't want to connect with the little fans they already got because they're so caught up in this mindset of looking like they don't care when they actually do care. People these days don't even want to be seen trying to do anything because they are scared of failing in front of others. You won't go and try to talk to that girl because you're scared she'll reject you. You won't even try to post that video on YouTube because you're scared people at your school will find it and laugh at you. You won't try to make music because you're scared it'll sound bad. And funny enough, when you think about all these people who try to act nonchalant and don't seem like they're trying, who really cares more? The person trying to act like they don't care out of fear of what everyone else thinks? Or the person that does whatever they want despite who's watching and what they got to say? Ultimately, when you learn how to mix not giving a fuck about what others say while mixing giving a fuck about something like your art, your purpose, you can attract the realities you desire, the results, and people included. But it all starts with the decision to move forward with whatever you want despite what's standing in front of you. So get back to your natural state of not giving a fuck.
You clearly want to make some, so why not just make it?
Because I'm scared.
Of what?
I don't know.
Exactly. You just answered your own question. Yeah, but like for real, don't like hype yourself up now and then go home and be like, oh, I don't know. Like, do it. Worst come to worst, what's gonna happen? You make it, someone says they don't like it. All right. Will you like it?
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
People put too much seriousness to, success and failure, especially on the basketball court. If you take a shot, you can only do two things: make it or miss. That's how simple it is. That's what you try to get to your kids, so they're not afraid of that simple act. When I took that shot, whatever shot it was, in my mind, first of all, I'm thinking I'm gonna make it. Secondly, if I don't, okay, we can come back tomorrow, work hard, make sure when I get in that situation, get them to make the shot. But you don't put the end of the world on that one particular event. And kids sometimes have a tendency to do that. So you as a parent, you have to simplify it as much as possible to show them that either way, I still love you if you miss that shot, You know, I still think you're still a great basketball player if you missed that shot.
You got to stop listening to that voice in your head that's telling you you can't do something, that you're not good enough, that you're never going to get to where you want to go. You just got to stop listening to it, and you have to really start paying attention to what it is you want. Because I can tell you that voice is not you. What you've got to do is you've got to focus on where you're trying to get to and where you're trying to go. So you have the voice over here telling you all these negative things. The best thing you can do sometimes is you start focusing there, not focus on the problems or the voice over here. Like, you focus on where you're trying to go. And I do that every single day. And if you put your focus on where you're trying to go, that handles a lot right there, because now you're not getting involved with this whole dialogue back and forth in your head about, you know, whatever stupid shit conversation you have with somebody, and, you know, you're worried about this and you're worried about that. Like, that helps a lot of that to just be eliminated by just focusing on where you want to go.
You'll never make it. You're not good enough. What if it doesn't work out? You ever heard that voice? Because guess what? I hear that voice almost every single day. Fear often isn't a loud, ugly, foreign screech that one doesn't recognize, but it is rather a voice that is small, subtle, and very familiar, speaking to the insecurities that are deeply rooted in not truth, but familiarity. But see, I've consistently found a way to silence that voice on command, a technique in which I will teach you in this video today. But before we get into that, I'm Virgo, aka Alice the Virgo. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and go check out my second channel where I'll be reacting to. With that, let's get on with it. The way you silence the voice of fear, doubt, insecurities is described in a very simple term, which is called focus. Let me say that again, because often the most important lessons are often the most simplest. So it's easy to overlook what I just said. The way you silence the voice of fear, doubt, and insecurities is focus. What does the term focus mean? It just means directing your energy / attention to one specific task or thing at a given period of time. So for instance, right now you are focusing on this video, and if you're not and you're scrolling or something like that, or you know how you do the little thing on YouTube where like you can still see the video but you can like be scrolling through a bunch of other apps, if you're doing that, focus your scrambled egghead ass back. The reason you are often crippled by fear and anxiety is not because it is powerful or because it is even true. The reason those things feel true to you and they feel powerful is because you focus on them. Have you ever had like a bad day and then maybe your car breaks down, or maybe somebody cancels on you, and then you think to yourself in your head, this couldn't have happened at a worse time? Well, you just focused on the negativities of life. You're focusing on a glass being half empty and not half full, thus conditioning your brain to always see the negatives and not the positives. And then that leads you to attract more negativity, because you're only going to attract what you are and what you focus on. Versus on the opposite side of that, you ever noticed the day where you just felt really lucky, got more money in your account than you expected when you checked, relationship is amazing, and it just seems like things just keep falling into place? And I'm not saying that life will be good and circumstances will always make you feel confident, but ultimately what determines the things you will see is what you focus on. There can be a person who is extremely toxic and you see that in them, right? You know it, but there's somebody else, they don't focus on those things. They only focus on what's good about them. They only focus on what they can do for them, and they end up seeing a completely different person than you, because ultimately what you look for is what you will find. I mean, think about this. If you focus on the phrase, I can't, you will focus on everything in real time that proves you can't, thus causing you to not even see the opportunities that show you can whenever they do present themselves, because you're only focused on the part of your brain that says, I can't. Take Michael Jordan, who was 5'10" in the 10th grade and got cut from varsity. If he looked and paid attention to why he could never become an NBA player, then he would have never even stepped on a college court. But by focusing and listening to his heart and not people who couldn't even see his vision, he was able to be in the right mindset to see the right opportunities when they presented themselves.
My mental preparation for the game is very different than most. I try to relax myself. I'm a jokester, a prankster, if you want to say it that way. I listen to music, I joke around with the guys. I take my whole mind away from the game itself, and then when the time comes to focus on the game, I focus on my athletic skills and putting it together with the team, and somehow collectively going out and doing our jobs each and every day. I challenge myself to be the best basketball player every moment that I'm playing the game of basketball. And sometimes that means tricking yourself in your mind to say that you can't do this, or your weaknesses are here, but yet you still try to work on improving those weaknesses. A lot of people may say, well, Michael Jordan never had weaknesses. Michael Jordan had weaknesses. He just had to dig deep inside himself to figure out what they were and challenge himself to improve those weaknesses. So mentally, I like to challenge myself to go out and play a perfect basketball game. Although I know you can't do that. It's practically impossible to play a perfect game, but that doesn't mean you can't challenge yourself to do that.
You see, it's not necessarily about silencing the voice. It's just about not focusing on it. Because see, things speak to those who listen. If your insecurities speak and you keep focusing on it, it'll keep talking. But if you ignore it, then guess what? Just like people, it'll realize you don't care and it stops talking. And it works with everything else. If you listen to the voice of security and confidence, you ask for guidance when it speaks, it'll continue to speak to you and give you the directions to where you want to go. But you can't ask a millionaire how to get rich to then go on to listen to a bum that explains why you can't be rich.
The fear is simply because you're not living with life, you're living in your mind. Your fear is always about what's going to happen next. That means your fear is always about that which does not exist. If your fear is about the non-existent, your fear is 100% imaginary. If you're suffering the non-existential, we call that insanity. So, people may be in just socially accepted levels of insanity, but if you're afraid or if you're suffering anything which does not exist, it amounts to insanity, isn't it? People are always suffering, either what happened yesterday or what may happen tomorrow. So your suffering is always about that which does not exist, simply because you're not rooted in reality.
So focus, focus, focus. What you focus on is what you become. So look to what you want and focus only on that. With that, man, I'm Alex the Virgo. I appreciate y'all. Again, go check out my second channel where I'm reacting. You know what I'm saying? I'll be uploading reactions and stuff like that today. We're trying to get that to 1K by the end of this month.
You have to believe in yourself and have to know that it's only one you. You're an amazing individual, unique. You're a miracle. I wake up every day and I'm like, this is crazy. Not crazy from a standpoint of being a celebrity, crazy just life. It's just wow. When you really sit down and just think about it and just bug out on some wild shit. It's wild. And to know that you are in this existence and in this world as one individual, it's only you. You have to know that you got to carry that authentic nature of allowing yourself to say, this is who I am. This is how people gonna see me and also gonna respect me, and it's gonna inspire people to have truth, because when everyone's authentic, what comes out of that is true love.
If you feel it right here, and you know in your heart that that's what you're supposed to be doing, don't let nobody tell you to not do it, because that's what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. When you follow your heart, you always win. Because when I told my people, hey, I'm about to rap, they all laughed at me. It ain't make sense. It's not gonna make sense. But you follow your heart, you always win.
If YouTube has taught me anything, it's that just because something isn't realistic to someone else doesn't mean you can't make it your reality. If you have a dream, go for that shit. Nobody knows what you're capable of, including you. The one thing I can guarantee is that if you have a dream and you give up on it, in a few years from now, you're gonna think back to now and think to yourself, if I had stuck with it, maybe I could have made it happen.
Believing in yourself, something that we as humans often struggle with. It seems when you go to do something and you feel your life is more than your circumstances, people from all over come out of nowhere and tell you why you can't be more, why you're not capable of doing the things that you want to do. And often, most people end up listening to the external. They don't end up listening to the internal voice of God. So when it falls silent because you stop listening, they end up waking up one day and realizing that they're living a life not that they wanted, but rather they were told to live. What follows is they blame others and go on to live a life of resentment. But little do they realize, if they just believed in themselves, and I'm not talking about that cliche motivational term that people throw around. I mean actually believing in yourself, even when nobody else does, even when the odds are not in your favor. I'm talking about that belief. If you had that, your life, the things you want, all that would bow down to you with ease. What do I mean by that? Well, let me explain the art of believing in yourself. The date was June 10th, 2025, and the world was taken by storm. Boxing superstar Canelo Alvarez was announced to be fighting the undefeated Terrence Crawford.
Once in a lifetime.
For all of you who don't know, Canelo Alvarez is a 35-year-old fighter who is often referred to as the face of boxing, which just means that he's so iconic and popular that not just every boxer knows who he is, but even people who don't know about boxing still know who he is, thus making him one of the sole people keeping boxing relevant and alive. So as you can see, that title commands respect, and in boxing, that really matters. There have been so many instances where fighters have lost fights not due to skill, but due to judges having so much love and respect for the more iconic fighter and not wanting to see them lose, that they end up robbing the other fighter of their hard work. And don't get me wrong, Canelo deserves the recognition and respect that he gets. But my point is, it makes it that much harder for somebody who might be on their level or even above that of the icon to become the next face of boxing and beat the champion. So, as expected, instantly the world gawked at the sight of this fight. Boxing analysts, superstars, and commentators all around the world deemed this fight an easy win for Canelo.
¿Qué piensas de esa pelea y cómo ves esa pelea que tú sabes?
Te ves una pelea muy dispareja, ¿me entiendes? Una pelea, un gran peleador, ¿me entiendes? Eso nadie lo duda. Subir 3 divisiones es ir por el dinero. Primero le va a dar pelea, pero de que le va a ganar, no hay por dónde.
He apparently hit a lot harder and had a lot longer list of great fighters that he beat. Meanwhile, his opponent, Terence Crawford, compared to the 65 professional fights that Canelo had, Crawford only had 41. Canelo was 35 years old and was dominating bigger fighters his whole career. Meanwhile, Crawford, who was 38, was moving up essentially 3 weight classes to fight Canelo. It's safe to say that the chips didn't look like they were in his favor. But this has happened to Crawford his whole career. Not because he wasn't skilled enough, but because of his personality. As I explained, a face of boxing is somebody who keeps boxing relevant, sells fights essentially. And when you're a person like Crawford, who doesn't do all the out of the ring antics like Floyd, or you don't have a crazy body and fight style like a Tyson Fury, it's a lot harder for you to sell fights because people have no clips to meme. There's no disrespectful banter that fans can argue over. And since Crawford has always been like this and just let his skills do the talking, he never could catch the same publicity as the fighters I've mentioned so far.
Felt like I never sold my soul to get where I'm at right now. You know, I didn't have to put on a show to get where I'm at now. I was just myself. A lot of people, you know, including my promoters and things like that, say, oh, well, you need to do this. You need to talk like this. You need to act like, I'm gonna be me regardless. I'm gonna be me. If you don't like it, then so be it. Y'all not talking about my performances in the ring, which always should matters. You know, y'all talking about, you know, you don't have no personality. I'm like, okay, well, that's your personal opinion because you want me to act like a clown.
And since he couldn't get the same attention as those guys, he wasn't able to get the same opportunities either, thus making it appear as if he wasn't that good, when in all actuality, he just never got the opportunity to prove he was that good. Because guess what? Every time he had a chance to go against those people, he always won.
Combination! Beautiful work! To the head and the body.
But boxing doesn't care about who's better. They just care about who can sell. And when people made the argument that Crawford was more skilled than Canelo, people brought up this fact. Even Canelo himself said that Crawford hasn't fought anybody. He didn't deserve to be here.
You supposed to be the bigger man.
Yeah, hey, you say that because you're fighting with nobody, and you obviously look like you're a great fighter.
They ain't on my level, and you
I fought everybody.
The last fighters.
Mention me one. You mention me one elite fighter. Just one.
And that right there, that's where most people fail, right? Because most people allow themselves to be defined by the opinions of others. You aren't who you choose to be. Instead, you limit yourself to be who you think other people believe you to be. This entire experience of consciousness is but a game we call life. But it should have been named, Who Are You? The Game. Because that's what this is all about, man. Who do you believe yourself to be? That and that alone determines the outcomes of your life. The only lucky people in this world are the people who already believe they're lucky. You know that, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. The man who says he can and the man who says he can't are both right. Therefore I tell you, all things you pray and ask for, believe that you have received them, and you will have them. Mark 11:24. The game itself has been trying to tell you the whole time how this shit works. In movies, songs, literature, religious books, this very video. Your life is a movie where the plot constantly changes based on the role that you believe your character is supposed to be playing. See yourself as the villain, and then you will live the life of a villain, feeling unappreciated, underestimated, and misunderstood. See yourself as the hero, and you live a life being celebrated, admired, and appreciated. It all begins with the end. In order to build a house, you have to know what it's going to look like once it's finished. So in your perfect world, how do you want people to remember you? Who do you want to be when this is all over? Figure that out and commit to being that person today. And the more you behave in a way that aligns with that narrative, the more the plot of this game will change to align with that story. And when things happen in your life that seem to contradict that story, you have two choices. Either you abandon the story that you have chosen for yourself and replace it with one that more easily accounts for what just happened, or you find a way to work that event into the plot of your story. When the hero in a movie runs into a major obstacle, you don't think to yourself, oh, well, I guess this is how it ends. Instead, you try to figure out how exactly the hero will overcome the obstacle no matter what it is. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the hero, now would he? Hey, shout out to my boy Virgo. Everything is frequency.
See, Crawford knew he could beat Canelo, and he didn't feel the need to over-explain or convince anybody of that. And on September 13th, he finally got the chance to prove it. Not to the doubters, but to himself. That he was good enough and nobody's beliefs mattered besides his own. And that night was eerie to say the least, because the whole world was watching. Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing, adored, cheered by millions. Versus Terrence Crawford, older, smaller, and booed as he walked to the ring.
Chasing down one of the single greatest wins of the last 25 or 50 years in the sport of boxing.
And yet, he smiled. Why? Because Crawford had something that the crowd couldn't see. Belief.
I could. Never, not once, when I was coming up, ever said I could. You know, when you used to write what you want to be when you grow up? I used to write, I'm going to be a world champion in boxing. I never said I could. That belief in yourself. You always said I am. You are. I am.
And from the first bell, it was obvious that this was not Canelo's night. It was Crawford's. Round after round, he painted it.
Can he follow up?
Still a lot of round left.
And by the 12th, even Canelo knew.
Omaha, Nebraska, USA, and no.
Belief had beaten fame, power, and odds stacked against him. I mean, literally from round 1 to 12, he gave this old school ass whooping. He literally dominated one of the greatest of all time, and he made him look like a bum. It felt like something straight out of a movie.
As we roll onward from Vegas.
To the outside world, this was a surprise. It was so sudden. But see, Crawford, this was brewing since he was a child. And that's because Crawford always believed in himself.
Terrence, when did you know that you were going to beat him? Over here on your left.
When he signed the contract.
He never let anyone tell him how high he could go. He is the master of his own destiny, and he decides when he can't. Not you. So he didn't even seem surprised when he won. But it was more like, I always knew this would happen.
To be honest, when I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not like a surprise to me. It's a surprise to y'all because y'all didn't believe me. You know, but for me, I knew I could do it. And I believed that I could do it. I just needed the opportunity.
You see, it's not the people or the fame or the recognition that gives you power. You do. So when you place things like confidence and security in yourself, you'll never be let down. But when you place it in others' opinions or circumstances out of your control, you always will be. When you believe in yourself, nothing can change that. Not no money, not no opinions, not even no champion with the world on his side. So find that and you'll never look again. Virgo.
When you in your grinding stage, like that hunger is different. It's about if you can maintain it or not. Like that hunger that you get is like a different type of like, I don't know what it is. Like all I wanted to do was just work. So once you get that in you, like it's just like you can't stop. So I gotta keep my head focused, stay on the right path and just execute every time.
Bro, when people come to me and say, give me one piece of advice, I say be consistent. Like, that's so cliche, but like in 3 months, if you posting on YouTube consistently, like YouTube will throw your videos into this like the topic that you're in, and then it'll push like to the masses of that topic.
But some days you get a little down, a little disappointed, a little discouraged, a little frustrated, because you like, this shit just ain't happening fast enough, this shit not coming fast enough, is it ever gonna come? You get depressed. I'm gonna tell you like this, do not fucking stop. Whatever you do, don't quit, don't stop, don't give up. That'll be the worst mistake you ever fucking make. You'll regret that shit forever. It's not no overnight. This is a step-by-step process. You gotta put one foot in front of the other. That's how this shit works.
Consistency is the key to life. Say it with me, ladies and gentlemen. Consistency is the key to life. See, at first, I never really understood what people meant when they said to find success, you gotta be consistent. It was one of those cliche terms in my head that I automatically undervalued due to its simplicity. But I saw a quote one day that read, "The keys to life, the knowledges of God are simple. They are so simple, in fact, that they could be understood by a child. So simple that it can be seen all throughout nature. So simple, in fact, that us human beings, having such an egotistical nature, that we can't even see its power when it's right in our faces due to our egos." What do I mean by this, you wonder? Well, let me explain the art of consistency. When I say consistency, I don't just mean aimlessly dropping 50 mixtapes on SoundCloud. I don't mean uploading random YouTube videos or doing random workouts in the gym. I want to make it clear that I do not mean working hard in the slightest fashion whatsoever. When I say consistency, I mean in mindset. You need to consistently be in a mindset that goes with the goal you have at hand. Because whatever you consistently think, feel, and believe about yourself is what you will ultimately align yourself with and attract. For instance, you ever heard of the term, you attract what you are? Toxic people just always seem to find themselves in relationships and environments with other toxic people. Well, that reason is simply due to not only do you attract what you are, but also whatever you are is naturally what you feel inclined to do. A person who is toxic will make decisions that will always put them in toxic situations. The same way that if you grew up poor, you will always find yourself making poor financial decisions that will keep you in a poor state. And the same goes for whenever you have a wealthy, abundance mindset. You will always make the decisions that will keep you wealthy and abundant. So this is why it is so important to be constantly checking and nurturing where you want your reality to be. Because it doesn't matter how hard you work at being a winner if you consistently have the thoughts, feelings, and inner compass of a loser. So the first rule of the art of consistency is consistency in mindset. You need to consistently align and feed your mind, soul with thoughts and beliefs that validate who you say you are and what you say you want. And I know you're probably wondering, well, how do I do that? And it's simple. Join my mastermind coaching program for $2,000. I'm just playing. It's really simple. I'm gonna be honest. All you really need to do is make the decision. That's all it comes down to. Making a decision and also making a conscious effort to consistently stand on that decision, no matter whatever comes to try to knock you off of that decision. This is what makes or breaks whether you maintain or even obtaining what you want. An example I love to use is Kendrick Lamar. See, most people really only got hip to K-Dot because of the recent Drake versus him beef, right? Or whenever his music became more listenable to a wider audience with his whole Damn album. But long before the world knew Kendrick Lamar as the superstar he is today, he was literally the exact same as he is today. A man rapping about what he believes in, the world he comes from, the people in it, and how it affected all of them.
3 of my homeboys that summertime was murdered. You know, close ones too, not just somebody that I hear about. These people I grew up with. So it all psychologically it messes your brain up because you live in this life. You know what I'm saying? But you still have to face realities of this. I gotta get back off that tour bus and go to these funerals, you know, and go talk to my moms and talk to their aunties, the kids that from my sister to my little cousins and to other siblings around me that's coming up. How can I be a voice for all these people around the world and can't reach them like I want to? and they're the closest to me.
He built his whole brand upon this. He was not a voice of self-righteousness, but rather a voice of authenticity.
Through my music, I want to make sure that's the legacy, showing people how to communicate, and it's okay, you know, if you're not perfect.
I always said to myself, if I said it on record, I never retract my statements. Because it's my self-expression.
Putting these records out is a gift for me because I'm not only a voice for myself, but I'm a voice for people who can't express themselves like that. All I can, do is continue to be an actual human being and to show them that, I go through the same emotions and the same, feelings that y'all go through.
Yeah.
So if they, put that as being the leader of this generation, then so be it, because all I can do is express myself and hope you take something from it. And I think that's my biggest connection with my audience and why it connects the way I do.
And since this was a decision that he made early on in his career to consistently stay true to himself and not being afraid to follow his heart regardless of how others feel, it was fairly easy for him to stand on this. And while it initially stunted his career a little bit, not being as digestible to mainstream audiences because of it, he still consistently brought quality and standed on that decision. And obviously, as we know of today, it ultimately paid off.
I want to keep doing it every time, period. And to do it every time, you have to challenge yourself and you have to confirm to yourself, not anybody else, confirm to yourself that you're the best. No one can take that away from me, period. And that's my drive, and that's my hunger I will always have.
And it's really that simple. Like, literally, I can't be more specific or more in detail about this. You don't have to climb Mount Everest or some random unnecessary 20 years meditation to find success, peace, or anything else in life. It is all in you. Pause. Nothing is outside of you. God gave you everything. Let me say that again. God gave you everything you need to accomplish, acquire, and maintain anything you want at any given period in time. And that's because everything you need is internal. It's really just a matter of, while staying consistently in your mindsets and goals, will you become swayed in the age of distractions and algorithms and ultimately stop being consistent with yourself? This is why on the opposite side of the beef, Drake lost, and the overall public perception of him over the years has changed. While yes, it is partially just due to this nigga doing a lot of activities.
So apparently in the book, there's that part in the book where you say that he came in and told you that he had smashed one of your girls.
Oh, when he wrapped up? Oh, I wasn't worried about that. I was just, that's just how life goes when you locked up.
The thing that ultimately ended Drake's run as being the golden boy, the chosen, most loved and respected, was him losing his consistency. Not necessarily in his work. Well, actually, yeah, let's be honest, it was his work too.
Say that you a lesbian, girl, me too. Hey, girls want girls where I'm from, hey.
But this was all merely just a byproduct of something already brewing underneath the surface. Up until about 2018, there wasn't a single project, feature, even commercial that Drake was in that didn't bang. For that 10-year period, Drake quite literally owned the game. And it was all due to him not only dropping some of the most consistent and greatest projects to ever grace our ears, but it was also because he was consistently dropping quality projects in such a time frame that was ultimately unheard of. I mean, this nigga damn near had a platinum album or song of the summer every single year. And this was mainly due to Drake coming into the game with the mindset he wanted to be the best. He made a decision that he was coming for the crown. He didn't care how anybody felt. And he consistently felt like that. He consistently thought he was the best. So guess what? He acted and made decisions that would turn him into the best.
Just kind of woke up one day like, yo, this is my time. This is my this is my thing. I run this, nobody can really talk to me. I'm good at what I do, and I'm ready for anything really, and whatever it is, whether it's a one dance or whether it's know yourself or whether it's energy or.
And that's the other rule of the art of consistency. When you make that decision, then and only then do you do the work. It's not just consistency that gains you success, but it's consistency in the right things. Drake knew exactly who he was making music for and consistently brought that audience exactly what they wanted to hear. A lot of us artists have such big egos and we go, I want it to be so artistic, I want it to be so perfect and to have so much depth and substance. But the truth of the matter is the average audience listener doesn't really even notice these things. But Drake didn't care about none of that. He just cared about consistently showing up and being on your playlist, on your screen, wherever it was, and just giving you something to vibe to. And that's ultimately what gave him the crown.
My uncle always told me something early in my life which stuck with me, which is that while you're on the journey, you have to disconnect from the end goal, you know? Because if you're just focused on some end goal, then you might get there, but it'll be hard to progress past that because you're so focused on that one destination that it's like, you know, you maybe forget everything in between, and maybe you could have done more in between. He always told me, like, just be here right now, live right now, and do the best you can right now.
Consistency is the key to life. When you make the decision and consistently show up and nurture the thoughts and feelings associated with that decision, the actions you take will naturally align with that to get you to where you need to go. So stop working hard just for the sake of working hard. Stop just being consistent in a bunch of random things and be consistent in the right things from the right place. Once you do that, then will you really start to see your work pay off, because that's the art of consistency. With that, I'm Virgo. Subscribe to my page, drop a like, and comment how this video made you feel. I love to see your guys' feedback and amazing positive messages. Share this video with your friends, maybe rewatch it in times when you need it. Do as you please.
So when do you rest? When do you recover? But the truth answer is, I don't take any days off.
I can't take a break even if I wanted to.
Like what do you mean?
Like I'm happy when I'm working.
Right.
I don't like chilling. Like I feel like when I'm chilling, somebody is like surpassing me. That's how my brain works.
Bro, I had a thought. I wanted to stream all the way through the year. 24/7.
It's okay to take a break, little bro, for a day, a week, a month, a year, however long is needed. I'm gonna say it again. It's okay to take a break. Young man, young woman, old gal, poor man, rich man, content creator, doctor, teacher, husband, father, wife, sister. It's okay to take a break. These people online trick you into believing that you never can stop. You have to always be moving forward towards something. Stopping, slowing down means being behind. It's somehow a sign of weakness. And if that were true, it really makes you think, well, what really is the point of life if you're just gonna grind the whole time? Like seriously, you right now who's working really hard to get a chain, a car, to give your kids a life one day that you never had, or retire your mom. Like what if you died today? What if the person that you're working so hard for died today? What is the point of us listening to everybody telling us to sacrifice all of our God-given time, which we don't know how much we have on this earth? Going to parties, experiencing relationships, experiencing love, for some apparent ever-fleeting success that they poeticize. It literally doesn't make sense. And I want to make it clear right now, I am not promoting laziness, or you shouldn't consistently be working towards some sort of goal or dream. But where will we stop as a generation, as a human race, and go, we're grinding harder than anybody before us. We're getting away from people. We're focusing on ourselves. We're uploading every day to all these platforms. We're sitting at these desks all day. We're going from work to the gym to home all day. Yet for some reason, we're the saddest. Did you actually know that your muscles grow and get stronger after the workout's already done and you're in your resting period, and not when you're actively working out? Studies show the students who perform the best on the test are not the ones who stay up the night prior cramming a bunch of answers into their minds, but the ones that studied a couple days before and actually got a good night's of rest the night before. The same literally goes for anything else in life. Growth and change is not through just action, but also the studying and the implementation that your being naturally does during the resting period. The truth of the matter is, this online hustle culture, even a lot of these streamers or content creators who saying just work, it's a lot of the blind leading the blind. A lot of these people aren't happy, and that's exactly what this system wants. It wants for you to work really hard for something that you don't even care about per se, neglect your mental, spiritual health, and whenever you have the money or whenever you get the carrot, if you ever even get it, you're gonna be feeling emptier than before you got it, because you're gonna look back and be like, I missed out on all this time and all I got is a couple of bucks to show for it. I took all these extra shifts, I worked overtime and all I got is a couple bucks to show for it. All I got is some nice shoes to show for it. And whenever that doesn't fulfill you, you're gonna go, maybe it's because I need more money. And it's gonna become this self-fulfilling prophecy loop where you're just gonna continue to work harder. So you're gonna keep chasing this very shallow high. Most people go through life just letting things happen to them, honestly. So they don't even realize this is happening to them. But you're not strong because you choose to go to work despite being sick and not mentally able to handle the task. Because that's what society has programmed us to do. Only the strong can show compassionate for the weak. So your strength is seeing yourself sometimes needing to be quote unquote weak, needing a break, needing to take time for yourself and not always always being able to be the man or the woman that your family or even yourself needs sometimes. And being okay with that, being gentle with yourself sometimes. Don't let nobody trick you or shame you into feeling like you're lazy or you're a bitch or you're gonna fall behind for taking a break. Most of the biggest artists, YouTubers, and biggest figures, period, are known for taking extended breaks over periods of time. And when they come back, they're able to drop some of the best art known to man. But that's because they get out of this loop and take time for themselves. Because they realize something too, like, okay, listen, say you're working really hard right now, you're grinding 24/7, you're not getting sleep, you're not going out with friends, like you're not living your life. You realize when you get the success you want, you get the thing you're chasing, it's only gonna be more work. This is what it is now. It's only gonna become more and multiply what it is now. So if you don't know how to balance, take a break, live your life now with the load now, imagine whenever you actually get it. How are you gonna rule the world if you can't even gain the mental over your own? How are you gonna give your moms and friends happiness with your success if you're not even happy? The reason why most people are afraid to take a break and slow down in life is not because they are afraid that the thing they are chasing is fleeting. For some, it is that. But a lot of times people have a lot of trauma that needs to be dealt with, a voice that frightens them, and to cope with that, they work all the time. They have a heartbreak that needs to be dealt with, an insecurity from that heartbreak that needs to be dealt with. And instead of sitting and talking with themselves about it, they work at the gym. They work extra shifts at their job. Working is a cop-out. And funny enough, once you get past, you realize that's the final thing holding you back from gaining success. I mean, success is literally a mindset. While yes, it requires work, it's just as important up here. Once you know that you have the thing you want, you literally just have to wait for it to manifest in the physical. So to even feel like you have to work extremely hard 24/7 to get the thing that you want is admitting to the universe that you don't think you yet deserve or have the thing you want. Something that takes years to cultivate will not disappear in a matter of days. The same as the eternal light in you. If it is gone upon your return, that means it was never real. The same as a shooting star that goes as fast as it comes. So please, y'all, take a break. Nobody wants to watch a tired, irritated looking person with bags under their eyes perform a craft anyways. And you're your best anyways when you're fully rested. Appreciate y'all, bro. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't have nothing to say. Love you all.